This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections. Yes, welcome to Race in Action Today. We have a very special guest today, autocrosser and event coordinator, Ryan Nielson. Ryan, pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure to be here, Larry.
And I want you to tell the people watching, some of them are not going to understand, what do I mean when I say autocrossing?
Well, Larry, the thing about autocross is you can do it with any car that you have, and it takes place in an autocross venue, like just a normal parking lot, and we set up cones for the cars to go around in with a slalom maybe or some gates, and you go from point A to point B, and you're not against other cars. You're just going 30 seconds down the road, and
you're
stop.
Being timed.
You're being timed. Yeah, you're being timed. It is competitive.
Yeah.
But it's not a big risk to your car. It's not like you're going to put your car into a wall or anything like that. It's just you might get a cone mark or two.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very low risk. So you can do it with your daily driver. You don't really need anything.
So when you go to an event, do they have like a tech?
Yes.
Time first?
Yes. So typically you get there like at 8 o'clock in the morning. Take all the stuff out of your car, and then you'll put some numbers. Typically, it's just painter's tape on the number, and then we'll have all the cars line up, and then we'll go through them, make sure the wheels are on. Make sure your battery's not
safe.
Jostling around. Oh yeah, definitely. It's safety first at all times.
Yeah, and now you have different events. Have you gone to in our state here? How many different places do you go?
It's over the years we've gone to. Dozens. I mean, we've had events at Dot Stadium. We went to Foxwoods. We went to Mohegan. Last parking in Hartford. We've gone to the Big E. Anywhere that will let us use their parking lot. We were actually, CART was the first organization to start running events after COVID. We got special permission, and we were able to run in East Windsor for a little bit. So that was that was really fun.
Now let me ask you a question. Now here you are doing your thing with this. Your car, I know, is a beautiful car. It's a Formula V, correct?
Yep.
Number 14, an orange car.
Yep.
I think we got a picture of it. I hope they show it while we're talking.
Yeah.
And how did this all start for you? I mean, were you one of these kids on a go-kart? Or how did this all start?
Yeah, I was trying to be one of those kids on a go-kart. My family had different intentions, but my dad grew up he worked as a mechanic, and he was a Matco tools dealer. So I was kind of adjacent to it. And he had a couple friends that were racing in the SK Modified series at Stafford and Monadnock there. Yeah. And so I went to that, and I was like, this is it. This is me. So and then I just love the camaraderie of it. The smell of the fuel, the tires, and the excitement of it. I loved everything about it. And it was a long road to get to where I am now, where my parents were really instilling into me, this is not your career. This is
your hobby.
It's my hobby, right? Yeah. So, but I'm in a great place now where I have I can support myself and my hobby. So it's great.
Now your car, the Formula V, they've been around since the beginning of time.
Yeah, 60 years now. They just had a 60th birthday party in Pittsburgh. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
You raced that yourself?
Yes. Yep.
And now, is there a special model of yours, or?
Yeah, so it's called a citation, which is a type of chassis. So there's different chassis that all kind of conform to the Formula V, and the formula is the rule set that those go on. Okay. And so there's citation. There's other people that kind of built their own. There's Walmers. There's different types, but they're all kind of the same body, same.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you have to use a certain suspension too, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
It's got to be a member of like a Volkswagen family or something.
Yeah. So it's not strictly a Volkswagen back end. It's a zero roll suspension in the back, so it's got one shot going down the back, and the rear end will kind of go like this if it's going around a corner. So it's a Penske shock, so it's a pretty sophisticated shock compared to what they are.
So you can set it up good, huh?
Yeah. I have a lot of help though from another CART member, Brandon Pulford. He's really co-driving with me this year, and he just got his wheel-to-wheel license, as am I. We're both novices at this point, but it's been really fun, getting going with him. And I met him through CART as well.
Now tell me, what's your favorite place to race at?
I really like Palmer right now. You know, was one of the places I raced the V at wheel to wheel. That's a really great facility.
Wheel.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's a relatively new facility that opened in 2014.
So they have time trial events too, or no?
So CART hosts time trial events, but there's also other organizations that do that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But the Formula V is really built for wheel to wheel racing. Like there's 25 to 30 of these going to every SCCA event, and it's a pretty deep field. You know, there's kids that, you know, as young as 17, 18, all the way up to, you know, 60s or 70s.
Now, in your organization, or the kids you race with, is there a lot of these cars?
In CART, it's not really. In CART, it's mostly production cars, mostly you know, that you can drive on the street and bring to the events. But we do accept, you know, race cars and stuff as long as they meet the sound requirements.
Yeah.
And the Formula V, there's kind of like vintage. They call them vintage, which are a little bit more faithful to the original Volkswagen Beetle.
Car,
yeah. And so those are more allowed and more apt to race in autocross. You know, people set them up for autocross.
Autocross, yeah. And how long have you owned the car?
A couple of years. It's like maybe 3 years now coming up on. So it's a relatively new venture, but that group is really a great group of guys. You know,
how long have you been doing this?
So autocrossing and even just racing, I've been doing it since I got my license, which was 17 years old. So yeah, as soon as I could get it, and I got my license, and I found I actually started out with Fairfield County Sports Car Club, because you had to be 18 to start with CART. So I started out with Fairfield, and I just I fell in love. I had a 2005 Cobalt. I paid $2,500 for it, and
hey, you know what?
Ran the wheels off it.
You could do it. You could bring anything you want, long as it's safe, right?
Yeah. And the big thing is just keep asking questions. You know, that's really how you get better. You know, you're always learning.
In your organization or the people you race with, is there certain people that just are really tough to beat? I mean,
for sure. Yeah, there's definitely people
really
that are
competitive.
Oh yeah. There's people that get a lot out of their cars, and it's the driver that really makes the difference. You know, I could take my BRZ out and run it, and then someone else who's a much better driver could take it and, you know, be a second faster, and then but then you have the opportunity to ride with that driver or say, you know, can I see what you're doing, and then you can really pick up and learn from what they're doing.
Well, naturally, it always helps, you know, to get some advice sometime. I don't care whether you're seasoned or not. Somebody knows something more than you.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, I agree. Yeah. And it's a great mantra to keep in racing, because it's, you know, you don't know everything, and there's always something that knows something that you don't, like you said.
Yeah. And you mentioned the BRZ. Racing that, of course, or driving that on the track is a lot different, isn't it? Than the Formula V.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's a little less windy, I'll say, in the BRZ, because it's enclosed. But you know, the Formula V being open, I can see the tires. The engine is behind me. There's a lot of differences into it. It's not even running on the same gas.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so you've been doing this, I don't know, 17 years?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm 31. I'm, you know, since I was 17. So longer than I could probably imagine.
Now, these events that you go to. Are they every week or every other week? How's this work?
So it's like the schedule is based around what the venues will allow for us, but we typically try and have 10 to 12 events a year. And those autocrosses will have a time trial at, this year we have a time trial at Thompson at the end of the year. So that's a really fun time for you if you do like autocross, then you'll love being on track and doing a time trial.
We know that track till we've been there.
Yeah.
And it's another venue, naturally. And now tell me, do you like autocrossing better than real track or no?
I'm still getting into the wheel-to-wheel, so it's relatively new for me. I do love the wheel-to-wheel and, you know, fighting for that same piece of track, but the autocross is really fun because I get to, you know, drive a couple different things, and, you know, it's a little bit more laid back.
You could experiment.
Yeah.
And you could, you know, do things that you normally wouldn't do at wheel.
Yeah, the risks are a lot lower. If I kill a few cones, I'm not really too worried.
You know, whacking a few cones is a little different than whacking a wall.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But how many members or people, when you go to an event, how many people are typically there?
There's probably like 50 to 60 cars average on an event.
Oh, wow.
And we'll get like 70 people. The people bring their parents or
Yeah.
people to watch them and stuff. So it's a family event for sure.
And once somebody watches, the first thing they want to do is try it, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And if people come up to me asking questions like, how do I get into this or what tires you recommend, if I get going, I can't stop. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you'd be great if you do some tires. You're going to be, you just do this with your hands. You'll be a little bit faster. Like I love talking to people about that. That's just my passion.
Now, do you get like a license or something, or how does this work?
Yeah, so you only need your driver's permit. So we've had the past year, we've had 2 novice permit drivers, so they're not even licensed. So as long as you have a
permit,
right? As long as your parent is with you and a cart member as well, and they ride passenger seat with you, then you can be have your
that's
permit.
good. I mean, that makes it easy.
Yeah.
Do you have any social events during the year?
Yeah, so we have a summer party, we have a Christmas party, and then we'll do some go-karting events as well, just to keep people interested. Yeah, during the winter, because it gets long.
Now, I don't know if it's Mohegan or the other one has go-karts. Which one has them?
Yeah, so Foxwoods has go-karts. They have the electric carts, and then they have gas-powered sody carts for their league nights.
Have you tried it?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, and that's a lot of fun. CART had a team. They had a charity event for the Special Olympics there. CART had a team there. We did a couple endurance races with them, so they have like an 8-hour endurance race there. So it's quite a fun time, though.
Wow, that's a workout.
Oh,
8 hours.
Yeah, I think I did an hour in the car and I lost 3 pounds.
I heard that they were pretty quick, too.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
They move out, huh?
Yeah, you could probably go you're probably going 30 miles an hour on the end of the straight there, which is, it feels like you're going 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Sure, when you're about 2 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you autocross, is there carts there or no?
Yeah, so we do allow
like a class.
Yeah, so we have classing based on, so SCCA has, they call them solo rules, but typically what happens at the local clubs, you'll get like, I have this car. There's not really anyone else in your class because there's a class for every car. So what we do at CART is we push a couple of classes together. So you'll be racing kind of with people who are close to you in speed. But it makes it more fun, if you're against 4 or 5 different people, and then it usually encourages more collaboration. Like, how are you getting this much more time? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. So you're timed then every run, and now, do you fool around with tire pressure or no?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, whatever you can for adjustability, you can. I try and mess with it a little bit because the day changes. You start out and it could be 60 degrees and cloudy, and then it gets to sunny, and then your tire pressures might go up, and then you're not getting the optimal grip. Okay. So you would lower them. So
you go to the event now. Your class is, I don't know, what would your class be considered?
Yeah, so the BRZ has it's solo spec coupe for the SCCA, but in CART it would just be like C5 is what I would be racing in.
Because I didn't know if there was many classes or not.
Oh yeah, there's a class for everything, and they make special classes too.
The magic question: have you ever been to the runoffs?
I have not been to the runoffs. I've watched the runoffs.
I think where are they now? Oh, they're always in
Virginia.
Midwest or something.
Yeah. The last time they were in VIR, and it poured the last time that they were out there. But yeah, the runoffs are definitely a goal. They're
for autocross.
Oh, so those are linked.
The national thing.
Yes. Yeah, so I've never been to there, but that's an incredible.
Where is that, in Omaha or something?
That's in Lincoln, Nebraska.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, and that's the biggest amateur motorsport event in the world.
Oh wow!
Because they have the most cars and the most drivers.
Yes.
And that's that in its own is incredible
and very competitive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I'm surprised that you have not been out there.
No, it's a big drive, for sure.
Oh sure.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
No, and it definitely gets really competitive out there for sure.
But
it's definitely still on my bucket list.
You need to be on your game, without a doubt. You know, I know I kid my son all the time. I said, "When are we going to Lincoln?"
Yeah. As soon as we buy the plane tickets,
don't worry, we'll get there. He said, "We'll get there."
Yeah, it's just so fun.
Oh, it is. And the other thing, the runoffs, you're talking SCCA. That is, wow, that's the top of the list.
Yeah.
they're in another class, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. People get really really into it. I mean, there's a lot of little finite things that you can adjust on your cars, and it all makes that little bit of difference. You know, it just gets finer and finer.
So you've been racing, of course, in Connecticut. Have you gone out of state much?
Yeah, so I did go recently with the Formula V. I did go to Pennsylvania. Out there's a track called Pit Race, and it's out there. It's almost into Ohio, but they had this massive. They called it a birthday party for the Formula V.
Oh wow!
So the Formula V is 60 years old now.
Yeah.
And they had just everyone. It was a ton of people. I was talking to people that made chassis of cars that I was, hoping to buy. When I was searching for all this stuff. So
well, and they have an event, to just with their cars. Right?
Yeah. There was
just with Formula V's.
It was like 90% Formula V's. They had a couple like F1600s, so just like the next level up in Formula car. But it was mostly Formula V's, which is
and it's
incredible.
almost in Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh my dear.
Yeah. So, but that was a one-time thing. Like they're not going to have that again.
Yeah.
But,
I'm sure it was to commemorate, the anniversary, right?
Yeah. I hope to be the next one. We'll see. The 120th anniversary.
Now, do you have anybody in your family that gets involved in this?
My dad definitely helps me with the car, and I definitely
mechanical work.
Oh yeah. I lean on him a lot for advice, and the car's doing this. What do you think I should do with this? And just guiding me on what direction to take and what mods to take is really really key.
Yeah.
It's like I just bought this. It's called an AIM dash, and it measures your oil temperature, oil pressure, and he's like that's critical to your car's health. You need to know that immediately and be able to log it and know it and be able to shut the car down if it does something that you don't want it to do.
You can't afford to lose too many motors, let me tell you.
No, I can't for sure. Other people might, but I'm not.
I know. Now, tire-wise, we talked a little bit about them. Do you change them much or no?
Not really. In the Formula V, they are now using a Yokohama treaded kind of street tire. It's a 200 tread wear, so it's pretty sticky, but those will last a whole season, if I let them. The Hoosiers that they were running were a little bit smaller and slick, but much more expensive and
wear out quicker too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they wear out my wallet a lot quicker.
Yeah. I was shocked when I was talking with these kids. I was up in Lime Rock using that Falcon 660 there.
Yep.
They said, yeah, they're wonderful, but they're not. They don't last.
Yeah.
They don't last. But they're literally a couple of seconds faster than the regular tire.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible.
I mean,
right?
oh yeah.
That rubber on there might as well be a Hoosier. Like the thing with like treadwear too is all the tire manufacturers measure it themselves.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're going to an independent third party to measure this treadwear. It's all just like, that's 200 treadwear. Yeah. But I mean, they're 100. They're really soft. Like the 660 it's a great tire, but it is very very soft. Might as well be a Hoosier.
Now, do you have like a points thingy that you work on every year? Who's winning the points?
Oh yeah, yeah. So with kart we have a championship and we keep them all lined up in their classes and everything. So yeah, we get some pretty heated battles going on at the end of the year, and it does get pretty fun to watch a couple of people fight for that last spot. And it's all fun at the end of the day. It's all just you got me. It's
you know what though, it's a good group.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't stick with it if it wasn't a good group.
Yeah,
that's really the goal of racing.
Yeah. Now, being a driver that you are and the experience you have, how would you tell a viewer how to get started in this?
Well, there's a lot of different ways to get started. Either you can go to kartct.com and check out one of our autocrosses or time trials, or go to Apex Go-Karting, which is local in the area, and they have league nights for go-karting there. So those are really great options. Or even the video games now. There's a service called iRacing, which a lot of people are coming up through that now.
I never heard of that.
Yeah. So in COVID, that became a really big thing because no one was able to race. And NASCAR and like World of Outlaws, they all kind of had iRacing, the content there. So they were showing iRacing virtual races on Fox TV. And people loved it. A lot of people were buying different setups and everything. So it really offered some legitimacy to it. And they're based out of Boston too.
Wow. So that's really an interesting way to start, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, the other thing that's going to be a typical question, what kind of car should I start with?
Whatever one you can get into, you know? You're always going to have learning to do. There's always going to be more that you can learn and more that you can get out of the car. But getting in and learning it is the biggest thing. You know, just learning how to work on it, and you'll get that mindset of, this is the things that I have to do every session. This is the things I have to do after every race. And this is the thing to keep it clean during the winter, you know, and not have it rust or things like that. So it's...
Of course, the other thing, too, I mean, you could race a wild Corvette or a Honda Civic.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, correct.
And it doesn't matter where you start.
Doesn't matter, yeah. You might have a difference in horsepower and budgets, but it's all racing. It's all for fun.
Absolutely. And of course, you know, and you got to take things into account. When you have a bigger, heavier car, you're going to wear out tires more, and they're more expensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you start thinking about a car that's going to be economical to start, and learn easy on, right? Now, do you all think people should go to a school, a high performance driving school, or no?
I advocate for it a lot. There's an Evolution Performance Driving School, which is very good. I went to a couple in my earlier days, just trying to learn more about autocross, and it was worth its weight in gold for sure. I probably would spend $600 on my suspension, but then the $500 on a school, and I got more out of the $500 school than I did out of the suspension.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just knowing where to place your car. They teach you, where to look. Sometimes you're looking out the side window into corners that are coming up, and you're looking around your A-pillar, and it's all about looking ahead. That's
yeah. I learned that driving one of my son's cars, and I did autocross a Mustang that I did have too once. That you really need to be thinking ahead.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as, the cone's coming up, we got to do something.
Yeah. How you enter the corner starts way back in the farther back than most people realize, for sure.
Absolutely.
And it's putting your car in a position here or even 6 feet to the left can change your, it's a second down the corner based on where you're coming out. So that little things, it's little nuances that change.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it don't take much,
No.
And I have to say that over the years, when I talk to autocross people who have done it, and they have nothing but good things to say. The organization they liked. And how old is
CART?
Actually, CART.
So this is actually our 50th anniversary shirt, which is in 2022. So we're over 50 years old, and we were actually an offshoot of another club called New Departure.
Yes, I remember going there.
Oh yeah,
the New Departure.
Yeah. So they, I guess, I might be paraphrasing here, and there might be some bias, but they were. I guess New Departure wasn't fun enough. They were just not really. They were too stringent on the rules, and so CART emerged, and we became the fun club. And I think I tried to make sure we are still the fun club. We were all about fun. Everyone is welcome and to have a good time. Everyone should be involved.
It's all about having fun and the camaraderie. I like to say, is about everything. You know what I mean?
And everyone has that itch sometimes to race, and we want to make sure that people and kids today are doing it on a closed and safe course for sure. And really, it pains me to see when people are driving really fast on the street, and they don't really know what's around that corner. Or, it's not good for us.
I think that it would be a good thing for the motor vehicle department to have you guys have clinics for kids that are just getting their license.
Yeah.
And give them an idea about, what could happen, and you got to be in control all the time. And I mean,
so we do that. We actually.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. So we have a program called Teach. Yeah. So it's a teen driving school, and we'll teach them. We haven't had it in a couple of years, but every couple of years we do have that class. But they we'll teach them object avoidance. So we'll go them through like a slalom. So you're kind of going like a lane change kind of thing. And, I'll throw a ball in the middle of the course there, and they'll have to avoid it. And that's like a kid coming out or somebody going through. It will wet down a skid pad so they can feel what the difference is between wet and dry and how the car reacts to it.
Yeah.
And
I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Really.
And that's how I had to sell it to my parents when I first was going autocrossing, is that you do build those skills to learn what your car is like at the limit, so that when you are on the highway and you see a truck tire that's in the front of your path, you can make that necessary adjustment and not crash or
control.
Right. Yep.
That's 100%. What it's all about.
Yeah.
And speaking about control, as usual, Ryan, when you're having fun, time flies.
Yeah.
And we're getting near the end of the show today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I really want to thank you for giving us an idea about what this autocross is all about.
Yeah.
And you never know, you may see this gray hair someday.
I hope I do. You always have a seat in my car.
Hey, you know what? You never know, right?
Yeah.
It's all about having fun.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
This program is brought to you in part by Just Results Weight Loss Center in Berlin, Connecticut.
The Saybrook Fish House in Canton has been serving fresh seafood, chicken, and prime steaks for 40 years. Experience one of our 3 unique dining room settings, 2 with fireplaces, or relax in our cozy pub with a craft beer, wine by the glass, or specialty cocktail while enjoying a meal from our new lighter fare pub menu. Serving lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Reservations accepted for parties of 2 to 42. Gift cards always available. The Saybrook Fish House, nestled at the crossroads of routes 44, 202, and 179 in Canton.
Follow us on Instagram at nutmeg.tv.